Hi everyone, my name is Mike Bryan, and I'm happy to have here today Staci Barnett, who's the Director of Sales at the Oaks at Bethesda. Thanks for coming today, Staci. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
So, these videos, and we've done these before. This is really for the purposes of helping someone understand what to expect, and it's, I've always described it as it's deer in the headlights. When someone needs care, we don't know what steps next to
really
take.
Is.
And, so I think this is helpful for them to kind of know in advance what to expect. So we'll talk about those things today, but, first things first, where are you guys located? What's your phone number, email, all those things?
Sure. We are located at 2971 Maple Avenue, and that's right up behind Genesis Hospital.
Okay.
Our phone number is 740-452-3800.
And as far as email address, are there various emails they should send things to, or just directly to you?
There are. If they want to just email me, though, mine is staci.barnett@theoaksatbethesda.com.
Okay. All right. And I know earlier I was taking a look at your website, and Trilogy has various buildings, but if they want to go to the Oaks at Bethesda, if they just go to trilogyhs.com and then go to community locations, they can find you guys there.
Yep, there's a little drop-down box, and they can pull up facilities in Zanesville.
And one other thing I noticed there, that there's the ability to schedule a tour, and there's a contact us form. I understand that goes directly to you?
It does.
Right? Okay.
Yep.
So that's another way they can get in contact with you. And I know there are other resources available on the website. There's some things you can download that, what to expect with assisted living, other things like that are very useful, I think, to have. So that's good. So as far as what services you guys provide, can you kind of explain that?
Sure. So we have skilled nursing, we have assisted living. Basically, we do a full continuum of care. Our services, we're able to provide physical, occupational, and speech therapy there for our skilled residents, and even our long-term residents that may need that.
And I know too that I believe you have your own pharmacy built into the building. Is that correct?
We do. We use Synchrony Pharmacy, and it is a Trilogy-owned pharmacy. All of the medications, we get the orders, and they're drop shipped right to our campus.
Okay, so that's nice to have everything in-house there.
It is. It is.
And I know that you have some beds that are devoted to assisted living, others on the health center side. And on the health center side, you have a combination of things there. So you have skilled, so short-term rehab stays, long-term care, and hospice as well.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
And one other thing that before we were on the camera earlier, you mentioned that the tenure that you have there is pretty impressive. And there's no staffing agency either.
Right.
Is that right?
That's correct. We use no staffing agencies. We hardly have any employees turnover. I've been there since 2008, and I can tell you I've worked with the same people for most of those years.
Okay. I think that's pretty rare. That's pretty rare. Well, so as far as the general floor plan and layout, can you kind of describe that for folks?
Sure. So our health center accommodations, they're smaller. They have their own bathroom, their own shower. We work with the call light system, so if there is anything that they need, they push a button, it lights up above their door, and it shows to all of the nurses' stations. All of our rooms are fully furnished, so they have the bed, the nightstand, the armoire, television, phone services, everything's there. So we've got a lot of people that come straight to us from the hospital, and it just makes it a little bit easier.
That makes it a lot easier, just trying to figure out what you should take and how it's going to fit, and that's great.
Yep, if you could just bring whatever clothing you're comfortable in, we could do the rest.
Okay.
So.
Well, and if they want to, if they're looking at different places and they decide they want to call in and have a tour, they just contact you directly for that?
Absolutely, and they could even schedule that tour on our website, and then I would reach out to them to confirm the time that they chose.
Okay. Now, if someone they met with you and they've decided, okay, this is the place we want our loved one to go, the next step, I assume, is signing an agreement. And I know with any place, there's always a bunch of paperwork that needs to be signed.
Ours are all electronic now, so it's not a big book of everything.
That's
but,
good. Yeah, that's
yeah.
I maybe dating myself now that the stack of documents, but with all of that, especially if it's electronic now, they can take that with them,
Absolutely.
review that at home.
Absolutely, they'll get a copy of the move-in guide, resident rights, and everything at that time.
That's perfect. Now, one question that I get all the time is, how do I pay for this? There's quite a bit of services that are provided, and I know that they can privately pay, they can use Medicaid, veterans benefits, they can use the pension program, and I understand just recently you have a contract with the VA for short-term stays.
Yes, absolutely.
And I always forget that there's certain percentage ratings where it'll be totally covered or partially covered, but certainly if there's a short-term rehab stay for a veteran, you guys will be talking to them about that.
Sure.
And on top of that, Medicare coverage, and I do get a lot of questions about Medicare Advantage programs. Is that going to be covered? How do you guys handle the Advantage programs?
We are contracted with Aetna and Humana, and we run those benefits before we even get the resident in our campus. Typically, they're covering for up to 100 days, as long as they're scalable. We'll do updates every week with our therapy team and nurses' notes and things like that, and then the Medicare Advantage plans, they make the decision how long to extend them for.
Okay.
So it's pretty much their medical director that tells us when the last covered day
Makes
will be.
that call. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So, once the person has signed everything necessary and we have move-in day coming up, kind of explain what that's like for folks.
So move-in day, typically they're going to be greeted by their nurse and their aide that they're going to have for that day. The nurse is going to do a head-to-toe assessment. They're going to go over all of the medications. They're going to go over all of the personal items that the resident has brought with them that day. The kitchen will come in and get their preferences with food or their dislikes. Every department will come in and introduce themselves. Our environmental services team will come in to see if we are doing their laundry, what time of the day do they like to see housekeeping in their room. Some people like to sleep in.
Right.
So that's ultimately their choice at our facility.
Well, lots of different options then. That's
right.
Great. So if someone is at the hospital, for example, and they know that they're going to have, really whether it's a short-term stay or a long-term stay, and they're being discharged from the hospital, what is that process like?
Sure. So the case manager at the hospital or discharge planner will give them a SNF profile. That's the skilled nursing facility profile. They'll ask them to choose 3 facilities from that list, and they're all within our area. I think it's a 25-mile radius.
Okay.
That will have the star rating on it. We are pretty proud of that because we are a 4-star rated facility in our area. That covers your quality measures, your staffing, even your health inspections. So all of that's covered in that star rating.
And I think that if someone wants to look up those ratings, they can get, I believe it's cms.gov.
Absolutely.
So that's available for them to review as well.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Good to know. Now, what other special programs would you like to talk about? What sets you apart from other buildings?
The staffing agency is the big thing. We don't use any staffing agencies. That's all 100% Trilogy employed employees. Life enrichment. Our life enrichment team is absolutely amazing. We have outings that go pretty much all day long until the evening hours. We have 2 outings every week. We have Y on the Fly that comes in and does exercise programs with our residents. We have Muskingum County Library that comes in. There's always something going on.
That's great. That's great. I think I've seen that bus before. From
yes.
Y on the Fly. That's great. Well, any other programs or other things you would like to highlight? I know one thing that you did mention off camera earlier, basically the ability to have breakfast to order and things like that.
Yes, breakfast is made to order. So that's one of the good things about our facilities. If you decide you want an omelet or sometimes you just want a cold bowl of cereal, you can make that decision yourself. Our lunch and dinner, there is set meals for the day, and if they don't like that, there's a cafe menu to choose from with lots of options. We have a soup of the day every day. We have a salad bar every day. So lots of things to choose from there.
That's great. Well, you know, everything we've talked about today, it sounds like, again, we've used the term age in place before. You guys cover a lot of things where someone needs just a little bit of care to where they need a great deal of care, or even towards end of life with hospice.
Yeah.
So it sounds like a lot of things can be taken care of there. All right. Well, I think that gives folks a pretty good idea of, you know, what to expect. And, you know, for anyone who's watching out there, you know, if you do have questions, please be sure to reach out to Staci, and I'm sure she'd be happy to help. So thanks again for watching today.